Okay. Okay. So now
this time he played against ex-world champion Smyslov.
Yes.
With black. Smyslov was trying to play a quiet variation for white, which is normally very good. This is the Botvinnik variation for white in the English opening, where white doesn't take any risk normally, you see. So, okay, knight c6, and here he played b3. This is a little bit, a little bit artificial, but he wants to have an even game with b3. We'll see later on. Normally, white has to play here instead of b3, knight f3, or even e3. If he plays e3, it's almost even all the time. A very good example is our game Anderson against myself against, I played with black. At the start tournament in Moscow in 81. It was a very fighting draw, but very, very interesting for both. For him and for myself. It was very nice and correct until the end, you see. Fighting draw. But here, okay, he played b3. The idea is to play bishop b2 and very quickly to play knight a4 and trade the dangerous bishop from g7. This is the idea from Smyslov, you know.
Okay.
Okay, so black continues. He played normally e6. Okay, bishop b2, knight e7. And, okay, knight a4.
Happened,
Knight
yes.
a4. It happened. So he took, he castled, and...
But he lost some tempo with this, right?
No. If he continues in a few moves, d6, b6 or something, is an even game. No problem, you know. He didn't take too many risks normally, you know. But here he plays e3, and after e3, he has time to open the game very quickly, as always, Bobby. Okay, he played d5. Now what to do? He tries to take in d5, because if he played here knight e2, black has time to push and play d4. Advantage for black already, you know. So, okay, he took in d5, and from here, move by move, very tactical game, you see. He took with the knight, and here, knight e2. Okay, knight e2, b6, and he played d4. It seems that more or less even the game, you see. But it's complicated, you see, starting from here. You'll see how. Bishop a6, it starts, you know. Bishop 6. Okay, now he took in c5, but he must, no?
Yeah.
So now queen f6, again, very strong. Now he attacks the knight from b2. Now he has to play knight c4, the only move.
Yes.
The problem here was that he could maybe even almost lose a piece if he played knight a4. After knight a4, he has time to push the pawn in b5, and you lose the knight.
Sorry,
after knight a4. If you play knight a4,
yes,
he takes first probably in b2,
yes,
in e2, pardon. Now you have to take only with the king, because if you take with the queen, you lose the rook.
Yes.
So and now b5, and you lose the knight. It's unbelievable.
Because, yeah.
You lost the knight. If you're in the normal position like this, you lose a piece.
Nothing, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so what to do? So now it's c4, the only move, knight c4. So here, the second surprise, knight c3. Very unpleasant also, you know, because now you have to take in c3.
Yes.
If you push the queen, it's again lost again, you know, in a few moves. So check, king f1, again the only move. King f1, all right, so now rook d8, everything with tempo, you see. So queen c1, well, he took with check. Now again, queen d3 check, very good. King g1. Very instructive game until here, very unusual. Bobby gave a pawn without any risk for a very strong initiative. He doesn't have any problem. I mean, the worst thing that could happen here is to make a draw. You know, if he takes back the pawn and white plays the best move until the end, probably the game could be draw. You know.
Yeah.
But a small mistake is enough. Until here, Smyslov played very well. I mean, he found always the best moves to defend. But he was not happy at all, of course, because he had to suffer. I mean, the other one, I mean, his opponent had a very strong initiative. He dictated finally, you know, the game, and he had to defend all the time with white. Very unpleasant, you see.
Yeah.
So what to do here?
The king is...
King G1. No, it's all right because
all right.
now he wants to give. Maybe if he has time he takes in C6, and then he has time, if he has time, to place later on King G2, and
Yes.
it's enough to have an even game.
Yes.
If nothing happens. But you have to be very careful with white here because black doesn't take any risks, and he threatens to have a better end game to have a very strong attack against the king, because for the moment the rook from H1 doesn't play, you see.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes the difference. Okay, now what to do? He took in B6. He has to trade as many pieces as possible, you know. So, okay, he took. And now probably after queen b2, black is already, he played queen b2, yeah? Knight a5.
Yes.
And even here, after queen b2, knight a5, bishop f1. Bishop f1 probably gives some chances for draw, you know. If he plays bishop f1, yes.
Uh-huh.
But instead of bishop f1, he played such a move. I mean, he was probably very tired and he wanted to do something. He threatens to play himself h5. It seems he's all right, you know, to play h5, h6, or to take in g6 to have something with white, you know, with the rook from h1.
Yes.
But he's worse here. Black has the initiative and he can demonstrate it very quickly, you know. So starting from here, Bobby has a very good chance to win. And he demonstrates this very quickly, you see. So, okay, h4, he took in c4, queen f6, and now again, very strong move, queen f5. Now you don't have time to play h5. You have to accept the fact that you have to trade queens, you see. So, okay, he has to trade queens. Takes and takes. And now is no attack at all for white. White, for the moment, has a bad position again, you see, because the rook from h1 doesn't play. So he tries to free himself again by playing h5 and the rook through h4. You know,
yes.
h5 and rook h4.
Yes.
But it's a little bit too late for white, you know, for 1 or 2 tempos, you know, and you see the difference. Why? If you look at the position, any player would think, okay, the game is almost even, a little bit better for black, but white probably can save the game.
Yes.
But he can't save the game.
No.
This is the big difference, you see. So h5, so we'll see. Rook d2, very active again. What to do? Rook c1, good move.
Pinning.
Yeah, pinning. Rook c5, again, very strong. Rook c5. Rook h4. Okay, white realized the idea now. And now we'll see the difference. What is the difference? The very strong knight against a weak bishop. The better rook against the other rook, which is not doing very much for white, you see. And a much more dangerous pawn from c5 compared with the pawn from a2. It's enough to win. You'll see. So now what to do with white, pardon. He can't move the rook. If he moves the rook to b1, is enough. After knight d3 or rook c2, you resign with white, you see, in a few moves.
Ah, okay. Yes.
Because if the 2 rooks are on the second, the attack is crushing, you see. So you have to accept the fact that you have to take in c5. Okay, you take in c5. He takes. And now what to do? If you lose the pawn from a2, finished, you know. Okay, so now we compare the position. What to do here with white? He has to protect the pawn from a2. The c pawn, like in the Benoni, is coming very quickly, you see. And it's enough. So c4, h6, king f8. Otherwise, he's made threat now.
Yes.
So king f8. The position is winning for black, you see, because the position is too active. The king is too weak, the bishop is too weak, the pawn from f2 is too weak. And the pawn from a2 is still there, and the pawn from c4 is much too dangerous. The pawn from h6 also weak. Enough, of course. Against Bobby, is decisive. So, the rest is easy. Okay. Took. Bishop f1. Rook c2. King g2. The last mistake, but the position was lost anyway, you know.
So you give up the pawn for the attack?
Well, he has to give the pawn, but even if he doesn't give the pawn, if black has time to push c3, is finished, you know. Then rook c1 or rook takes f2. But now it's even easier. Okay, and now after king g2, okay, he took the pawn, but after rook f3, he loses all the pawns with white, So rook f3, king there, rook takes there, rook h8, takes in h6, takes in h7, knight back, no?
Yes.
Well, here he could resign. They had time to control. He played a few moves, but okay, bishop b5, bishop there, bishop c6, check, king g1, knight e5, bishop a8, rook b8, and here he resigned. He made himself this move, bishop g1, h1, and he resigned. Well, the easiest way probably here, if it's not made some attacking chances, he can play also for the final part of the game, knight g6. He can play later on knight g6 with the threat f4, 2 pawns up in endgame, or even rook h8, and after trading the rooks, he has 2 pawns up in an endgame, and completely winning it. And white resigned, of course. Fantastic technique from Bobby again, Almost from nothing. Very small advantage, but very unpleasant surprise from the opening. Immediately after the opening, black had the initiative.
Yeah.
And therefore, the game was very unpleasant. White didn't like very much the idea to defend all the time, and he tried to have a small counterattack. And okay,
Not a good idea.
you saw it.
And we have this.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
No, but this high class, the world champion, completely outclassed here, outplayed in that game.
Yes, yes. Beautiful to see, son.
Well, fantastic technique,
True.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Gheorghiu.
So,